from that, there are so many inferences you could have by observing my silence. So silence is also capable of expressing ideas. Of course, it's a well-established fact. And of course, but powerful communication is possible only through language. Among the available tools, the language is a powerful tool. Of course, among the inventions of the human being, the communication system or the language is the wonderful invention, and which suits well to the cognitive aspect of our human being, and with which we are able to capture the system of the language, and with which we are able to use the language in varying domains. So a language is such a great invention of human being, and with which we are able to perform a lot of activities. So a language plays a very, very important role in our life. Being a teacher, we got a lot of duties, and we have to have a lot of qualities. One among them is linguistic quality. Being a teacher, we need to have competence over the language, because our investment is language. We enjoy a lot of fruits by investing language alone. We don't invest anything. So when we are entering into the field of academia as a teacher, our knowledge have been tested in terms of the subject matter. At the same time, in terms of the way in which we presented the subject matter, that matters. That is very important thing. Of course, there were so many people who have attended the interview for which you have attended, but leaving away all those people, you have been selected only because of the reason that you have presented the matter very well, and of course you have impressed the interview board. That is the reason you have occupied this position. So language plays a very, very vital role in educational domain. I often say that only through language we get knowledge. Knowledge could be gained only through the language, and we learn the language from the education system. And I often say that. So the education gives us knowledge on language, and through language we gain knowledge. So there is a give and take relationship. That's what. So this language has to be very carefully handled by us, being a higher education teachers, or even for elementary teacher also. Any teacher, you have to get it. See, I already told you that the language is for communication. And are we using the language only for communication? Sometimes we use the language not only for communication, but also for some other purposes. Take for example, you are interacting with your friend. You are meeting your friend in a theater accidentally during the interval time. You will be raising a very silly question. Whatever question you will be raising, have you come for seeing movie? These are routine things for which you will never say the answer that, oh yes, I came here to see movie. You will not say that. However, you will be putting answer. You know full well that the gentleman has come for seeing a movie, not for selling murukku or pakoda. However, will be asking a question. This question doesn't demand any answer. You don't expect any answer for this. However, you will be putting that one. This is popularly known as apathic communication. You will be uttering meaningless expression or certain cockneyed expressions in our interaction. Why do you utter? Why do you use that type of expression? Or when you happen to see the head of the department of your department, or when you happen to see your colleague in the corridor of your college or university, you will be wishing him. When you happen to see your principal, you will be wishing him good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Why do you utter this word? What for you are uttering this word? Even your principal does not respond to your wish. You will be keeping on doing that. Why do you want? You are not communicating anything. You are not blessing him that you will have a very nice morning after seeing me. You are not blessing him, rather. And of course, it would be a worst morning for him. However, you will be saying that good morning. What do you say? You want to have a good relationship with your fellow being. You want to have a good relationship with your principal, so that you will be granted CL when you ask for it. For that purpose, you are making a foundation, rather you are maintaining the social relationship. So language is after all a tool of communication. However, it is used to maintain the social relationship, either between the social relation between student and teacher, or among the colleagues, or between the authority and the subordinate. So it happens. You need to have, even within your family, we need to maintain the social relationship, congenial, cordial relationship we need to maintain. For that purpose, we have to willingly or unwillingly use the language. That is very, very important. So for that purpose, we are using hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Please continue, sir.
Okay.
Sir, please continue, sir.
Okay. So I'm not able to receive the video. Okay. So the language is, after all, a means of hello. Language is
Sir, your video and audio has been muted, sir.
I see. Start my video.
Oh.
Okay.
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 Listen, sir, could you provide us also PPT? It would be very grateful to us if you do.
I see. PPT. You need to have PPT. I'm sorry that I don't have that facility. I'm at my home, wherein I don't find such a apparatus to present you the PPT. However, I will be presenting the matter in a slow manner. Okay. Are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. The communication language is after all a tool of communication. Sometimes we make use of the language for social maintenance. Social maintenance is possible only through that. So if you remove the language from our society, the entire society will come to a halt without language. From morning bed to this occasion, you might have enjoyed a lot of benefits using or employing your own language. So all things are possible, all activities are possible only because of the language. People often say that without language, our hands will be tied. Even we cannot imagine, or we cannot dream, we cannot sell our product, we cannot buy anything, or we cannot quarrel, we cannot articulate our affection, love, affinity, animosity, anything you cannot articulate without language. So as especially in the higher education domain, without language, nothing is possible. Even we cannot occupy this lofty position if we don't have the language. Thanks to the language, therefore we are enjoying a lot of fruits by being a professor, being a lecturer, being a teacher in academic domain. So that says that we are enjoying a lot of benefit out of language, and especially in educational domain, we enjoy a lot. People say that in local Tamil, there is a saying in Tamil called "Vakkattavanukku Vattiyar Velai." Mean the non-Tamil can understand the meaning of it. Vakkattavanukku Vattiyar Velai. The sense and the literal meaning of it is a person fits for nothing can be a teacher. This is the literal meaning of the expression what I produced. But the original expression of that expression is Vaku Katravanukku Vattiyar Velai. The meaning is a person who has got mastery over the language can be a teacher. It is not a person who has got knowledge over the computer science or botany or biology or zoology. The person who must have competence over the language It is a very, very important prerequisite for being a teacher. So to be a teacher, one must have competence over the language. That is expressed through the expression called Vaku Katravanukku Vathiyar Vele. So the language is given such importance in the education domain. But when we are using the language, we are not exactly communicating, whether in the educational domain or in the private domain or in the public domain. We are using the language for various purposes. But unfortunately, we will be using hyper communication or under communication. Exact communication is not at all possible. Even Shakespeare comes and speaks to you, he may not be in a position to exactly communicate to you all people, because it involves two minds. It is based on your linguistic background and the speaker's linguistic background. There must be coincidence between the competence of listener and speaker. Then only things will come. These are mutually agreed norms. Mutually agreed norms. If I use French language, for that matter, you may not be in a position to make meaning out of it. It became Greek and Latin to you. So you may not make any head or tail out of it. So I am using a language which is known to you. So we have got a mutually agreed rules and regulations with which we are using that. Even that, we are not able to exactly communicate or exactly get an idea from a speaker or from your writing. So it happens. It is not because of the defect of the listener or reader, or not because of the defect of the speaker or writer. Rather, there may be some dichotomy between the lexical choices or the syntactical patterns. So that will decide the intelligibility. So in that sense, we are not able to express exactly because language is, after all, an approximative system. Approximative system. Yeah, I am approximately trying to say something to you, and you are approximately trying to understand something from my speech. It is not exactly taking place. Whatever I conceive in my mind cannot be articulated using my vocabularies, because my vocabularies are very limited. I have got my own restrictions. I have got my own limitations with which I am able to use certain vocabularies, certain expressions. All those vocabularies may not be known to you, or sometimes you may have another vocabulary instead of one which I have employed here. So this variation will lead to have different understanding. And of course, your linguistic background is different from mine. And with my own linguistic background, linguistic in the sense the language background, with my own language background, I will be using it. And if you share the same linguistic background, the level of understanding will be more. And the gap between what I said and what you receive will be minimized. And sometimes it will be over communication, sometimes under communication. Exact communication is not at all possible. Even highly educated people, when they are interacting among themselves, there may be a communication loss or communication gain. Sometimes, if I say something to you, you may not get exactly, you may get 90% of the information, sometimes 110% of information. That is possible. If you are over smart, if you are so smart, if you have got very good linguistic background, you will make meaning. Therefore, people say that it is not receiving meaning, rather making meaning from the expression you receive. When I am producing an expression, you are making your own meaning out of the expression. I'm just giving you a minimum linguistic clues. With a minimum linguistic clues, you are able to make maximum concepts, maximum quantum of ideas. That is possible because language is potential. It has got such a power. It gives a lot of rooms for having different understanding, different views, different. Even misunderstanding is also a faculty, good faculty. All the people cannot have misunderstanding. Misunderstanding is an understanding obtained by only the elite people. They will be analyzing, dissecting the expression received by them, and logically, critically, scientifically. Thereby, they will infer extra information other than the information I want to present. Sometimes leaving away the original information. So it happens. The highly educated people will have different understanding. Therefore, many literatures are still read in different eyes, with the different eyes, with the different interpretations. That is possible. So language is such a phenomenon which provides a lot of opportunity to have different ideas. For example, if I say the word called chair, C-H-A-I-R, chair. Chair in the sense, an object which is used for sitting. You are able to understand the meaning. Do you think that when I'm uttering a word chair, immediately the picture of chair will appear in your mind? Am I correct? You will be imagining the chair. Do you think that all of nearly 50 members are listening to me, and all 50 members are imagining one and the same chair? No. Someone will be imagining a plastic chair. Someone will be imagining a wooden chair. Someone will be imagining a broken chair available at his house. He might have had a quarrel with somebody else because of that chair. He will be remembering all those things. I'm not responsible for all those things. I just utter a word called chair. You have created a lot of ideas. So you have made information. You have made meaning out of the expression. I'm just giving a clue that approximately I'm trying to say something. You are approximately getting exact information sometimes, more than exact, sometimes less than exact. That is possible. So that's called language is such a power. Among even it has got such a defect, such a deficiency, we still call it, it's a powerful communication tool. And a successful communicator, a successful language user is a person who has to minimize the gap between what is said and what is received. Minimize. Whoever is able to minimize the quantum of gap between what is said, what is said not, or what is received by the listeners. So sometimes we say something and the expression will say some other thing. And sometimes we will not say something, but the expression will say something. So that is possible is there. Say, these type of information is only because of the reason that a language is, after all, an approximative system, with which I often say that it's a disobedient servant. Language is a disobedient servant. Though master says something through that dictate something, the servant may not be in a position to obey the master always. Sometimes he obeys, sometimes he will not obey. Therefore, we have got a different interpretation. We have got a different ideas. So the language is, after all, a tool for communication. Language is used not only for communication, but also for social maintenance. And exact communication is not at all possible. Sometimes over communication will be there, sometimes under communication will be there. Such a handicapped tool is called language, with which we are able to do a number of wonders, and we are able to perform a lot of activities, being a language user. Being a language user in the classroom atmosphere is something different. So the concept of language has been viewed by different sections of people. Different people have looked at the language. One important group of people is called anthropologists. Don't think that only the linguists are looking at the language. There are different people hailing from different disciplines looking at the language for various purposes, various reasons. And one particular group is called anthropologists, the people who study about the human origin, human race, human culture. They believe that language is, after all, a form of culture. Our culture is manifested in language. Our culture, a linguistic community's culture, is manifested in our language. When I'm using my own communication tool, I knowingly or unknowingly, or willingly or unwillingly, exhibiting my own cultural properties. Even when I'm talking to you, unknowingly, I will be presenting my own idiosyncratic indigenous culture. So you will be able to decipher all those things if you closely analyze my linguistic behaviors. So when I'm behaving linguistically, either in English language or Tamil language or by any language for that matter, I will be unintentionally or intentionally sometimes employing, using my own cultural traits. And if, of course, you cannot separate cultural traits and linguistic traits also. It's an important parcel of language use. And sometimes we make use of cultural properties when we are opening our mouths. So this is a stand of anthropologists. If you want to study the culture of human being, one particular community, we need to observe that community's language. This is a standard. And of course, we people, though we have been using English language for quite a long time, as a second language, we have learned it. But however, we have not acquired the cultural properties of original English language. That makes a lot of hurdles in our communication process. When we are not able to communicate properly, since we are not aware of the original culture of English people. So it has not been taught. Our education system does not provide any opportunity to acquire the cultural properties of English language. Therefore, we often wonder if somebody asks you that, how do you do? Immediately we say that, how do you do? We say that we are fine. It's not proper answer. How do you do is a counterpart of hello. If somebody says you, how do you do? Immediately you have to say, how do you do? That's all. Hello, hello, hi, hi, that's all. How are you is different from how do you do. But we take that how do you do and how are you are, what they call allo sentences, allo utterances. We think that we are giving an answer, I'm fine, I'm so, I'm okay, like this. So the very basic things. So lot of them, every language has got its own cultural properties. Even if you, for example, in Tamil language, if I am to address you in local Tamil, I have got two options. One is if I want to give you respect, I make use of the word called neengal. Whereas if I don't want to give you respect, I can use the word me. So these differences are expressed in our Tamil language. But in English, for example, if I address you, it may mean honorific or non-honorific. Of course, we have got some other words. Your Highness, my Lord, my dear, like this, we have got a lot of expressions. But as far as the word called pronoun, you means either derogative or non-derogative. There's a question will arise. When I am asking you, when I am addressing my superior, I use the word you. When I address my student, I use the word you. There I don't mind whether I'm giving respect or not. I don't understand that because we know the culture. So the tone will compensate. The tone at which we are uttering the expression will compensate, of course. It is because of the, therefore I often say that the context is also a linguistic component. We often say the language has got a number of components, starting from sound, morpheme, lexical, sentence, morphophonemics, and syntax, beyond sentences, and discourse, pragmatics, and all those things. Even the context is also a component because we are not using the language out of the context. We always make use of the context. When I am uttering this expression here, I have created a context. You are all having a link with me, and I'm talking to you. So the context I have created. The context is also, as I produce a sound, as I produce a vocabulary, as I produce a sentence, I also produce a context. So the context is also a linguistic component. People have said that. But thing is, the context is also a linking component. Among the skills of language, people say that there are 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Thinking skill is also added as a language skill. Similarly, the arithmetic skill is also added as a linguistic skill. Different schools of thought available. So the context plays a very vital role, not only for even the pronunciation, in even understanding the meaning or in construction, a particular grammatical category, if, for example, in an ergative form, a form which can function as noun or verb, can be placed in a particular place. The linguistic context, the member words of a sentence will decide the grammatical category of a particular vocabulary. The member words of a sentence or member sentence of a paragraph will decide the meaning of a particular expression, particular sentence. So the context plays a very, very vital role in our. When we are talking about the context, automatically it may be a social context. And when we talk about the social context, the cultural context, culture plays a very important role. I often say that in English language, we have got a word called cocktail, sorry, cakewalk, cakewalk, C-A-K-E-W-A-L-K, cakewalk. What does it mean actually? Cakewalk, in the sense, any activity which is pleasant to do, or any activity which gives pleasure to you, or any activity which is so easy, or when you are very comfortable in doing any activity, or you love to do any activity, that could be said that it is my cakewalk. Taking lecture, delivering lecture through online platform is my cakewalk. If I say, I love to do that one, I feel very comfortable, I enjoy doing that one, I find pleasure in it. So you can make use of the word called cakewalk to refer to any activity or anything which is pleasurable, which gives pleasure to you. So that's called cakewalk. Why it is called as cakewalk? Why it is not called as vadawalk? Why it is not called as breadwalk? Thanks to the cultural triad of the original English speaker. The English people, the English marriages, after marriage is over, the newly married couple, as a ritual, will make a walk. When they are making a walk, both the side, people will be in row. 100 people this side, 100 people this side, having the cake. The newly married couple will chat themselves and make a walk and biting the cake. They will be biting the cake. So, of course, it is very comfortable always for everyone going along with his wife or husband, at least in the first day. Okay, after a later period, it won't be a what you call pleasant experience. But at the beginning, at the first day itself, going along with his better half or going along with his hubby, it's a pleasant experience. And having the cake, biting the cake, having the holding the hand of life mate and walking comfortably. This is a pleasant experience. That type of pleasure one can enjoy when you use the word referring to a particular activity. So when you want to refer to an activity which is cakewalk for you, you can enjoy this type of pleasure in that case. So the culture is attached with many number of vocabularies. Everywhere we find the cultural properties. We are miserably failing in our performance, especially in English, because of the reason that the cultural properties of English has not properly been taught to or imbibed in the minds of the young adults. And language user may not be in a position to. Of course, this could be acquired only by the socialization, linguistic socialization process. After learning certain things in the classroom atmosphere, they will be brought to the what you call street or common place where the linguistic socialization will be taking place. That will supplement, that will reinforce what they have learned in the classroom, and in turn, the society will teach you something. Not only the teacher, the society will also teach you something. By trial and error method, you will be understanding certain expression. You will be making your own core grammar, and with which you will be producing a number of expressions. That expression may be acceptable, that expression may not be acceptable. The society will be welcoming your production of expression, and if it is up to the mark, If it is not up to the mark, it will leave away. It will ignore you and it will reject your expression. And in tone, you will be modifying and polishing your own expressions and repairing your expression and producing correct and acceptable expression to the society. This is the way we form our core grammars. So the core grammar could be formed based on the cultural elements. This is a stand of anthropologist. Another group of people called sociologist. They believe that they say that language is a tool for social maintenance. As I already told you that to maintain the social relationship, we need to use the language. That is a stand of sociologist. And psychologist, another group of people, they look at the language. Language is a tool through which one can understand what is going on in the inner minds of human beings. The inner minds, in the inner mind, something will be taking place. That could be indicated through his language. People often say that face is the index of the mind. It is not face. It is the language. Language is index of the mind. I'm sorry, there was a call. The language is index of the mind. That you could understand the human behavior, especially as a teacher in the classroom atmosphere. Our students will be carefully, as if they will be pretending as if they are looking at us, they are listening to us. We will be thinking that really they are all listening to us. They keep their face as if they are observing your speech. But if they are to open their mouth, if we ask them to open their mouth, we will understand that whether they were with us or they were somewhere else. So the language indicates whether they are really understood what was going on in their mind. So that is a stand-up psychologist. Another group of people called literature students, and maybe some literature students will also be here. The literature students' perspective towards language is something different. They think they don't treat language as a means of communication, mere means of communication. They think that it is an artistic means of communication. It is not ordinary means of communication for them. It is an artistic means of communication. They always add some extra colors. They always beautify. They always exaggerate anything in an aesthetic sense. Of course, I don't say that it is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong. It is also one of the welcoming feature. Of course, we need to beautify our language. We need to beautify our language, because by beautifying language, we could mesmerize. We could attract the listeners. Thereby, our goal can be achieved easily. If I draw their attention, if I am able to draw the attention of you people, I will achieve my own goal. My goal in the sense I am passing on my idea. What about the linguistic behavior of teacher? I could transmit all those ideas to you. So such a way that that is a stand-up literature students. They always beautify. They go for always all rhetorics, all conceinities, all figurative languages. Simply, they will be adding some extra colors to the expression. Sometimes it will mesmerize us. Language has such a power. Simply saying, if I happen to see a flower at my garden, I will simply inform you, I saw a flower at my garden as a linguist. But a literature student will say in a beautiful manner, my dear friends, do you know, today at my garden, a flower smiled at me. A flower smiled at me. Flower will never smile. However, they're saying the smile is equated with what you call equated with blossom, a bloomingness. The bloomingness is equated with the smiling. So the personification technique is called personification. The human quality is attached with non-human things. Plant is after all a non-human. A flower is after all a non-human thing. The quality of human thing, that is smiling, is added, attached with this flower. Equated, this metaphorically is said that the personification. So like this, we will add a number of beautiful things. It, of course, it will attract. You know that the Bernard Shaw is known for his ornate oration. He will mesmerize the people. He will hypnotize the people by any means, by any hook or crook, using a lot of literary techniques, a lot of techniques. And people always say that in those days, if in an operation theater, if surgery is to be carried out to a patient, anesthesia will not be given to the patient. Rather, Bernard Shaw will be invited to the operation theater. In front of the patient, Bernard Shaw will be speaking for some time. By the time, the patient will be forgetting himself. During that period, they will cut the body. They will go for operation, surgery and all. So, even somebody cuts your body, if you are listening to a wonderful lecture, wonderful speech, you don't feel pain. Such a powerfulness is attached with the language. Being a teacher, you have to exploit such a things. As a teacher, the linguistic behavior of a teacher should be in such a way. Our students should not feel boring. Even somebody beats him, he should not feel his pain. Such a way you have to design the lecture. Is it possible? The language has such a power. It's a robust thing. It has got such a power. Using, exploiting that one, and you could enjoy such a benefit. So the literature students are always creative in nature, and they will create a number of expressions. ஒரு பட்டாம்பூச்சி நெஞ்சுக்குள்ளே சுற்றுகின்றது. It's a popular lyrics. Okay, ஒரு பட்டாம்பூச்சி நெஞ்சுக்குள்ளே சுற்றுகிறது. The meaning, other than the Tamil people, see, a butterfly flies in my heart. This expression says that I have fallen in love with somebody else. Therefore, I feel like a butterfly flies in my heart. But if you take the expression called pattambuchi nenjukulle suttigirathu, pattambuchi thottathil suttigirathu, it's the right expression. Pattambuchi nenjukulle suttigirathu, it is not at all acceptable expression. It deviates from general norms. It is not. It breaks the norms rather. When I use the butterfly fly, garden or something else, not heart should not be there. So in that case, a creative writer has created expression. Thereby, he is able to say something to the people. So it is all because of the reason that the aestheticness, they consider the language is aesthetic entity. And it can be used for informing the matter in a pleasant manner, in a pleasurable process, fashion. So that way, they will enjoy some benefit. The listener will enjoy some benefit. We are appreciating a lot of literature, not only for the content, but also for the way in which it is set, how it is set, how a particular concept has been set through a particular expression. Therefore, we are enjoying, we are having different interpretation. We keep on reading again and again to enjoy some benefit. Rather, people say appreciation. We are not reading. We are appreciating literature only because of the reason so many continuities, so many literary techniques are there apart from the content. Not only for the what is said, how it is said. Those things are appealing us to read the literature again and again. This is a stand of literature people. Another group of people called computer scientists, they also look at the language. You know that the natural language and the artificial language, we cannot imbibe the natural language into the computer. We have been working on Tamil language to imbibe all the ideas, all the vocabularies in the computer. Thereby, computer can behave like a Tamil speaker or English speaker. cannot directly pass on the information to the computer. We need to have intermediate language. Intermediate language. That's called artificial language. Using artificial language, we are trying to convert that one. The natural language is something different from the artificial language. Esperanto is a deliberately created language. The natural language is something human language. Human language. Generally, Jeff Hackett says that the natural language has got designed features. Designed features. It has got a number of designed features. And of course, the natural language is a language acquired by a group of children in the childhood and used at the adulthood stage. This is called natural language. Any language which is acquirable, which is learnable during the childhood, and which can be employed during the adulthoods or the early stages. That could be called as natural language. That's what the Hackett explanations. He has proposed a lot of designing features of the language. Considering all the world languages, he has come to a conclusion that differentiating the animal language from human or natural language. Human language, natural language. Any language which is learnable, which is learned by a group of children during the childhood and which is used by them during the adulthood or the elderly stages. So that is called natural language. These, of course, you know that 6,552 languages are there across the world. And all those languages have got some common properties. People say the linguistic universal. But before coming to the linguistic universal, as proposed by Chomsky, the Hackett himself told a lot of common properties of the languages. What they call very important salient properties of all human world languages. For example, by comparing the animal communication system. For example, one particular example, any language which is capable of accommodating new entities, new linguistic entities in terms of vocabulary, in terms of sound, or in terms of sentence constructions, anything, new linguistic entity, which is called natural language, or human language. Human natural language will accommodate, will provide a chance to create new vocabularies. English, for example, we got a number of new vocabularies because of the reason that English is a natural human language. And Tamil is also. Tamil is so productive, we are able to get more number of vocabularies, therefore, which is called natural language. Another important feature here is that any language, the natural language, will have the mechanism of converting a word into another grammatical category, a particular grammatical category to another category, making minor changes. For example, take, took, taken, take, I am taking. So taking. So all these things, formation is possible only for the human languages. If it is an animal language, we don't have. Animal language has got limited number of sounds. It does not produce a number of expression as we do. They know that the duality of pattern, duality of patterning. Duality of patterning in sense that a small number of meaningless phonemes are sequenced as meaningful words or meaningful sentences. So, basically, a phoneme does not have the meaning. When more than one phonemes are sequenced, it gains meaning. So the meaning and sound, the duality of patterning, this patterning helps us to produce number of vocabularies, whereas in the animal communication, we don't have such a things. One sound for one meaning, one sound for another sound for another meaning. That's all. Therefore, they have got limited number of sounds. They don't have the capability of permuting all those sounds as we do in our word formation, in our word sequencing. Difference in phonemes are sequenced. We are able to get different strings of some sounds, sticks of words will have meaningful elements, complete meaningful elements, syntactical elements or semantic what they call lexical elements. So we are able to create such a thing. So that capability is there only with the natural human language. And of course, only the human languages have got a negation process, negating a particular vocabulary, particular elements, linguistic elements. Negation is possible only with in the human language, and the other language does not have. Other languages don't have such a negation process. Yeah, what you call a dog will bark like wolf, but it does not bark like don't wolf. So not wolf is possible. So the negation is possible only with the human language. And of course, it is open-endedness. It is always open-endedness. One particular expression, for example, my dog will not talk about the glory of its grandparents, whereas I can talk about the glory of my grandparents, the past thing, or even the future things, so what I'm going to be. All things are possible using my own language, whereas the animal communication may not be in a position, cannot talk about. It will inform. A stranger is coming. When a stranger comes to us, come to our home, it will bark like in a different fashion. When it happens to meet me, it will bark in one way. So such light variation, but it is not able to sing the story of glory of yesterday. It cannot talk about anything. So such a property is attached with natural languages. The natural language, these apart, it has got what we call the stimulus freedom. The stimulus freedom in the sense, when I'm saying, if you say I'm asking you a question, how is my dress? For which you will answer differently, in a different answer you can give. So your dress is so gorgeous, you can say that this is the worst one, or you can say it doesn't fit well to you. You can say different ideas. Such a stimulus freedom you got it, whereas in the other communication mode we don't find it. So all these things, features make it human language as a cumbersome process. Therefore, the computer scientists are not able to cope up with these problems. They are not able to transform these properties in the computer. Therefore, they are going for artificial language. Of course, we are successful in some extent to convert the natural language processing through the natural language processing, and we are trying to talk to computer, and in turn, the computer is able to talk to us. Asynchronous communication process. It happens, and they are looking at the language in such a perspective. Another group of people called, we people are linguists. Linguists are the people, they look at the language scientifically. You know that scientifically we are looking at the language. They have got a different understanding over the language. This is I belong to the school of linguistics. Therefore, I am to present you some idea of the linguistic perspective, how people look at the language, and how you could employ in your classroom atmosphere, exploiting these features. Of course, in the linguistic science, we got three perspectives. One is what we call formalist perspective, and functionalist perspective, and cognitive perspectives. Formalistic perspective, in the sense, in terms of the form, in terms of the structures, we will be looking at the language. And functionalist perspective is nothing but the use of language in different domains, functions of the language. And cognitive perspective is that the world view, how we view the linguistic community view. Either the world view determines the quality of the language, or the language determines the quality of the world view. People base that, and the Lakoff and other people say that. World view changes. A particular linguistic community world view is different from other linguistic community. Therefore, we have got in some language, the table is what you call feminine, and some languages table is masculine, and some languages table is neutral. So in Tamil, it is a neutral. In what you call in German, it is a feminine. In French, it is masculine. So that we have got different perspectives, different worldview. So people say that the formalists think that the language determines the value, and cognitivists people think that the worldview determines the structure of the language. The Chomsky, Holiday, and of course Lakoff and other people have worked on it and have got a different understanding over that one. However, the linguist view or something different, and they have analyzed different properties of the language, and even you could see in different books. A lot of features are attached with the language. I will be selecting some features which I try to explain how you have to use these features in our classroom atmosphere as being a teacher. It is not necessary to understand all the ideas about the linguistic science. Of course, certain properties which are exclusively essential for being a teacher. When you are using the language in the classroom, if you keep your eye on these components of language, you will be very careful in using language in a classroom business. So in that respect, one important thing is that language has got redundancy. You know, the redundancy, redundancy is nothing but next more than one elements will be used to express one idea. In language, and even mathematics also it is there, but language, we have got more than one elements will be employed in our language to express only one idea. Have you ever seen such a feature in our language? Generally, we go for one-to-one relationship. If I produce a word, it will say on me. But here, there are some expressions, there are some linguistic entities we employ to express only one idea. Take for example, there is a tree. There is a tree. There are two trees. What's the difference between these two sentences? There is a tree. There are two trees. One is singular. The second one is plural. How do you say that the first one is singular? There is a tree. So with the help of is, you are able to say it is a singular. With the help of a, you are able to say it's a singular. With the help of tree, you are able to say singular. Just to say a fact that it is singular, we are using a singular noun. There is no es, trees. There is no yes. There is no yes. Therefore, you are saying that it's a singular. A is there. An article is there. Therefore, you are singular. And is there. Is something complicated one. Is not only for singular, but also for existence, the beingness, or the tense, the present tense. Present day, now available, one. Oneness, availability, existence, and what you call present day, present time. So the time, singularity, tense, singularity, and existence. The three elements are, three ideas are what you call portmanteau, used in it. So thereby we are saying that. So sometimes in language we use more than one element to express one idea. Here we use one element to express three ideas called beingness, present tense, singularity. And another occasion, there is no yes, however we are able to say that it is singular. Absence of something says something to you, and presence of something says three things, and presence of three things say one thing. It's a very ordinary sentence. In this sentence, we are able to get one information called singularity with the help of three linguistic entities. And one singularity is obtained with the help of the absence of something. And another element called is represents singularity, existence, present. This could be understood in comparison with what we call another sentence. There are two mangoes. There are is for beingness, present tense, plural. And two is for plural as well as specifier. It is not 3, it is not 4, it is not 5, it is 2. So the specifying one particular number, we are able to see it is a specifier as well as plural. Then yes, trees. Yes, it's a plural. So this component is called redundancy. Why we use this redundancy? Because basically language is for spoken purpose. The letter development is written language, of course. In those days, when we are speaking, sometimes some elements will be flying away. For that purpose, we are using. And there is no reason other than this. There is a mango, there is a tree. If I say in Tamil, for example, adu oru mangayaga irikkirathu. We don't say like this. Adu oru mangai, adu oru maambala. That's all. Adu oru maambala. Only two things. Irikkinrathu, we don't say that. So the beingness is not expressed in Tamil expression. Whereas when we would translate the English expression, there is a mango. Adu oru mangayaga irikkinrathu. There is a tree. Adu oru maramaga irikkinrathu. We don't say like that. It's an abnormal Tamil. Of course, adu oru maram, adu oru mangai, adu oru maambalam. That's all. So there, the beingness is absent. So in one language, certain extra elements are there, whereas in other language, it is not there. So it is a grammatical rule. You and I cannot do anything. It's a product of our society. It's a product of our society. The collective product. It is not individual product. You cannot claim. You could contribute to the minimum level. You can contribute some new vocabularies. You can give some new insight to the language. But you cannot claim that it is your own product. It's a product of the society. There, we cannot extract the logicality. Both the redundancy will always be there. In one language, certain portions we could find redundancy. In another language, we'll find the same type of redundancy in another areas, other parts, another grammatical category. So it's a quiet nature of human language. This feature will always trouble us, being a teacher. Being a teacher, we need to have a lot of cautions in, especially, and our expressions should be free from error, being a teacher, because teacher is a model to our own student community. And because the language teacher should be a linguistic model to our own student community. You should be a role model to your student in all respect, in all behaviors, in dressing or in behaving in a public place or in maintaining the cultural norms, in social norms. We have to be a model. Especially being a teacher, we have to be a language model. Your model, your expression should be a model to your student. They will be emulating your expression properly. My children will not accept my expression will be the model. Though I have got enough stuff over the language, they don't listen to my words. Whereas that teacher's words will be final for them, because they think that teachers are teachers. They will give only the right thing. They will show the right path. So in that aspect, teachers' model should be a best model. Because in our classroom, nearly 150 roles are to be played by a teacher. Nearly 150 roles are to be played. One among them is being a role model to our student community, especially being a language role model. Modeling, you are using modeling technique. It can be a model. Whatever you produce linguistically, whatever you behave linguistically, that should be a model to your own. They will be, still I am able to follow my own teacher's expression. I by hearted, I am able to reproduce when there is a need, because I have treated their speech as a model, because they have supplied good model to me. Therefore, I am able to use the language. So therefore, being a teacher, since it's a faculty development program, keep your language free from error. Pose only the best model to your own student community. So redundancy will always be there in our language. You should be very careful in looking at the redundancy, whether the expression you produce will have unwanted redundancy. These are all the necessary redundancy. You and I cannot do anything. But as per the English norm, Renan Martin or Chaucer has given prescriptive grammar, and of course, modern days we are moving towards the descriptive grammar. But the modern day, we have to follow the linguistic rules. Those rules say that I have to say, when I produce a sentence, there is a mango. I have to use article. I have to use auxiliary verb. I have to use singular noun. So this rule must be there in my mind, so that I can speak properly. I can communicate properly. So, but these apart, many teachers, I wonder, many teachers of higher education have been using a number of unwanted, redundant features in the speech, in their writing. When they are speaking with their own student community, when they are opening their mouth using English language or Tamil language, they are unwantedly adding some extra redundancy. Even in our leave letter, we find a lot of redundancies. In unwanted redundancy. Redundancy is an important property of language, but unwanted redundancy, what I mean unwanted redundancy in the sense, see, when you are writing a leave letter, how do you begin? As I am, this is a general thing, as I am suffering from fever, I am not able to attend the class. I am not able to attend the office. So I kindly request you to grant me leave for one day. I kindly request you to grant me leave for one day. What do you say? I kindly request you to. Is there any unkind request? Is there any unkind request? Kindly in the sense, kindly ask for. Request in the sense, kindly ask for. If you say, I kindly ask for one day CL, one day leave, that's good. I kindly ask for. Some people say, I humbly, kindly request you. It's a really blunder. You are unwantedly adding extra features. If you want to express your humbleness, you got a lot of options. You can use the word beseech, entreat, supplicate, grave, beg, bow. A lot of words are there to express your humbleness. But don't destroy your own language that I kindly request you. I kindly request you, you please don't use the word kindly request you. So kindly request you is unwanted. I request you itself says the kindness. The kindly request you should be avoided. Okay. And not only this one, there are so many things, so many expressions we are using. Some teachers will be saying that she is my cousin sister, people say. He is my cousin brother. He is my cousin brother. She is my cousin sister. She is my cousin. He is my cousin brother. That will do. With your cousin brother is not at all possible. That combination is not at all available in English. Cousin itself, either the brother or sister. She, when you say she, automatically it refers to the feminine. He, when you use a he, it refers to the. See, if you are to introduce a couple in a platform, they are couple. That will do. They are couple. She is wife. He is husband. Is it necessary? He is husband. He is wife. It is not at all necessary. Of course, this is possible. He is wife. She is husband is possible. That is acceptable. But thing is, when you are introducing somebody else, the couple itself will do they will do attend please attend. They will be saying that the unnecessarily you are adding some extra redundant feature. It should be avoided. Many people see that I request all the students assemble together in the seminar hall. People say assemble together. It's not at all possible. Assemble or come together. That will do. And some people, if you go to Madurai, when will you return back? People say that. When will you return back? It is not at all possible. When will you return or when will you come back? So unwantedly, you are adding extra redundancy. People say, you have committed a blunder mistake. Blunder mistake. Blunder is a big mistake. blunder mistake is a big mistake. So you should avoid such expressions in your speech. Yes, because you are presenting the best model to your own student community. Huh? அப்படியா? My God. அங்கிட்ட விட்டாளா? So you started. Okay. Now this apart. 1 minute. I will consolidate. Within 2 minutes. The not only the redundancy. Being a teacher, you have to go for creativity, number of innovative expressions. Always the teachers will be named in terms of the expression they produce. Do you know? Have you understood? Are you with me? Like these people will be saying that. So don't vomit the things vomited by somebody else. Everybody has got his own pet expression. Avoid using that. Go with innovative expression. Language provides you an opportunity to go along with the innovative expression. This is another thing. And similarly, language is a dynamic one, ever-changing one. It is quite changing. Modern days, we have got a lot of innovation by the influence of electronic devices, and we have got a number of newness. Apart from Indianness, apart from British features, American features, Canadian features, many features are there, and we have to use it. Thanks to the electronic media has radically changed the language qualities. In those days, A and I were the single letter words. Modern days, we have got all the 26 letters are used as words. C stands for SHE, SEA, like this. We have got a language has got changed, and it has got creativity. And of course, we must be very careful in using the language, because the best teacher is the person who has to use the error-free language, and the rate of speaking should be up to the mark. Our voice should be amplified to the not to the greater level, but to the level to which it reaches the backbencher of your classroom. And of course, some teacher will be talking to the head of the department. So such a things should be avoided, and your voice modulation should be up to the mark. There must be ups and downs, so that the people will be in alert, because you are passing on every information through the oral means, and then and there you will be presenting the things the visual means. So you try to capture the difference between the spoken language and the written language. So there are some formalities we have to follow when we are using the language for spoken purpose. When you are using for written purpose, we need to follow certain other norms. You have to be very careful being a teacher. You have to follow certain norms. And non-verbal communication. Don't think that all the idea you have transmitted, as I am trying to do that. No, don't try to bombard all those ideas into the mind within the short span of time. They have got only 20 minutes of attention span, within which you try to imbibe the necessary information. And of course, every information should pass on to the minds of your students using your mind and their mind. It has to travel across your mind and their mind. Then only it will be lingering in their mind. And always keep your face smiling. Use good vocabularies. Don't use the ugly face. Everybody has got his own idiosyncratic ugly faces. And try to conceal. It's a matter of suppressing worst things, expressing best things. Thereby, you will gain good respect from the student community, and you will be listening to your students will be listening to you if you make use of good language. If you make use of good language, at least for that purpose, people will be attending you to class, because in modern days, idea about the subject matter can be had from any sources. By mere clicking a button of the computer, you can have a lot of information. They are not coming to your class not to know information alone, just to have the linguistic behavior, just to fine-tune their linguistic behavior. Care your linguistic behavior. Whether you are teaching language or teaching any subject, you try to care your own language. Thereby, you will find a permanent place in the heart and minds of your student community. And with which, because of the dearth of time, I may not be in a position to touch upon different aspects of linguistic behavior of teachers. I have just touched very limited ideas. Anyhow, now the floor is open for open discussion. You could raise any type of question on the things I have talked, or anything related to the classroom interaction or classroom language use. I'm ready to give answer if possible. Thank you. I go to the head of the department, Dr. Sankar Ganesh. Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir, can you hear me?
Oh, Ramesh.
Uh,
Sorry. I'm extremely sorry that I have taken. No. Sorry.
it's okay, sir. It's okay, sir. Good morning, good morning, sir.
Good
Yeah,
morning.
dear participants. Yeah, now the floor is open for the queries and questions.
Okay.
So, Professor Muthakrishnan is all set to get your get you the answers. Please go ahead with your questions.
அவரது ரமேஷ் அதை ஆன் பண்ணிட்டீங்களா?
On front. Yeah, participants, please. We are waiting.
No question. It has not made any
Oh.
change in understanding, of course.
Question chat box.
Fine, Professor Muthakrishnan, sir, it looks like people have totally understood you. That's what we are getting a kind of response saying that people are being silent. So anyhow,
there are two inferences I could gain.
Yes, sir.
I can probably infer that all the ideas I would try to transmit has reached their mind, and sometimes positively nothing has reached their mind. There are two inferences. I am positively being a pessimist, optimist. I try to understand. Everyone has got some understanding over my speech.
Definitely, sir. I preferably take your option 1A, which means that people have got all the information right. Thank you, Professor. So we are at the back end of our session today. Let me, on behalf of our organizing committee, Department of Linguistics, and head of the department, we apologize for rescheduling our speaker. Actually, Professor Mohanty was supposed to be here today. Due to some academic commitment, he was not able to make it today. So hopefully, he has promised us to meet us on Monday, that's 20th of this month. And I thank Professor Muthakrishnan, sir, for giving, even we have given him a very short period because this change was only made, planned yesterday. And professors readily agreed, being part of this department who have been in the growth of the linguistic department of Bharatiya University. I wholeheartedly thank you, Professor Muthakrishnan, sir. And so we have been listening to his speech, how the language is being manipulated or the way of interpretation. Basically, he has focused mainly on the how to handle the language in the classroom situations. He also has thrown light on the influence of sociology, anthropology, psychology, and all these areas, how this culture has influence in a language teacher's mind, how the things are being interpreted. And that was quite interesting, sir. And even he has also talked something about the human language and the artificial language, the barriers of human language and the limitations of these languages, and the pattern of human and animal communication, how it has been limited. And this is something, ideas which really made the participants very interesting, sir. So on the whole, how a linguist look at the language and perspective. So he has given a very clear idea about how this happens in a classroom environment. And not only that, he was talking something about the redundancy. So it happens in most of the Indian languages where we have been looking into. People say that, may I know your good name, please? As sir was mentioning, there is no good name or bad name. It's all just the name, like which not only these expressions, there are a lot of other expressions we tend to use in our common day-to-day communication pattern. And we need to look into it, concentrate on this. And apart from that, finally, he has advised us, a teacher, to be the language role model in the classroom. So when a language teacher has got a lot of commitments saying that he needs to be a language role model, I mean, not only on this part, apart from this, what do you call this, redundancy and tone and the way of expressions, all these things need to be concentrated, and while in the formal situation and in the informal situations also. So I thank my professor, Dr. Muthukrishnan, for his valuable time. And thank you very much, sir. I thank all the participants for your patience for listening to this session. I'm once again sorry, I apologize for rescheduling our speaker. So we, as I told you, Dr. Mohanty will join us on Monday, and tomorrow's session will be done by Dr. Shailendra Kumar Singh from NEHU. Thank you all. Have a good day. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
I sincerely thank the organizers, especially the head of the department, Dr. Subramaniam, Dr. Sundar Balu, Dr. Ramesh, Dr. Vijayan, Dr. Sankar Ganesh, for having opened this platform to interact with many number of people. Anyhow, I regenerating my understanding over the language. I have touched upon the very basic things. I'm about to touch upon some other concepts which are very much essential for being for teachers. However, because of the depth of time, I could not cover. Thank you very much. Anyhow, I'm very much interested to inform the matter that my mobile number is 98653789119. This number is open for all people. Any type of queries with regard to the language, with regard to the linguistics, I will be very much interested to listen to the words of participants. If I am able to answer your queries, I may be in a position to answer. In case, if I'm not able to answer your queries, I will refer to some text and all and try to answer your queries. Thereby, I will enrich my mental horizon and in turn, yours either. With this, I once again thank the organizers for having given me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See you.
Congrats, Subbu.
Sir, Selvakumar, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats. Congrats. Congrats.
It will be on YouTube. We will send the link and it will be there for you.
Okay. Congrats, Shankar.
Sir, thank you, sir.
So all the team, I congratulate all the team. Invited Dr. Muthukrishnan to deliver a wonderful lecture.
Thank you, G.
Thank you very much.
சங்கர் சார் முடிஞ்சிடலைங்க சார், நல்லா க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடலாம் இல்லைங்க? வீடியோவில் எல்லாரோட தான் ஆன் இருக்கும் போலங்க.
சுபோ
ஏன்டா ஜெகா?